Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today we are in new lecture. In this lecture, we want to understand what different features of a good shading system are. What are different features that makes it a better shading system. So today we will talk about and understand how what different things that are there that makes a shading system better. So let's see. Here are some features I highlighted for you. Good shading system, maybe a positive shading system. A positive shading system means it does not use any reversal mechanism to return the frames or the harness to its other position, especially for the in the case of frames, because you put lot of load on the frame and the reversing mechanism, that negative reversing mechanism that we use, that usually are spring, that does not help our shading system to improve much and go for higher speeds, and there may be some lags and delays or extra or unnecessary forces there that we do not require. So generally positive shading systems are better, and in these days modern shading systems, all modern shading systems, either they are Dolby shading or cam shading, are positive shading systems. The other most important feature is the peak finding function. The peak finding function is very important. Peak finding function means that your shading system is able to go forward or backward in a stop position, in a not working position. You can move your machine in different shades, so that if you want to find some weft that was absent or broken and you want to repair, and you can move your machine easily in forward or backward direction from shed to shed, so that you can find a pick. So this is very important feature for design to consistently be made on the fabric. If there is a mistake, you need to use the pick finding system to repair that broken weft. The other thing is the ease. The third thing I want to talk about today is the ease to access the different setting of the shading motion. For example, how easily it is possible to access the frame height and shed angle and other features. Uh, is it difficult? More difficult it is. The shading system may not be that good. A good shading system must provide an ease, so that the change is possible and easily possible, and and requirement from the shading motion can be applied easily. Uh, the motion that is transferred from the shading system must be very efficient. It must not waste the energy, and there must not be delays and lags, and the efficient motion must transfer must be there, and we will talk about this and see. And there is another requirement from the shading system, that it must be able to level the frames or the harness, so that we can see or observe the change or timing change or the relative position of the different uh, harnesses, frames. And at the last we will see that the design must be efficient, so that it can step up with the requirement of the energy, that is minimum possible energy it must consume. It must be modular enough that the repair and the installation and the control is easily, and good design is there, and also it must be friendly for the environment and hazard free. So these are the major features of a good shading system. We'll talk about each of these one by one. Efficient transfer of motion. So first we want to talk about uh, efficient transfer. Efficient transfers mean the shading system is to transfer the motion to the harness for the raising and lowering the frames or the harness. like you can see in the this figure. The function of the shading system is to transfer the motion, and this motion is causing to lift and lower the frames here, here, or maybe here. So if there are no wastage of the energy, if the energy is all the energy is used to only to raise or lower the frame, there are no lags, there are no delays, and there is no unnecessary motion and vibration. So we see that our shading system is efficient. In the previous systems, uh, we see that the frames are controlled by harness are controlled by cords. Cords cause the lifting of the frame, and lowering is done by the springs negative system. This can cause delays because the ropes are or rods are not very efficient way of lifting the frames, and it is the pulling force that cause the lift, and also the reverse mechanism, the lowering of the frame is done by the gravity as well as the spring action. So this system is not very efficient because springs are constantly uh, pushing the frames downwards even though when they are not required. For example, when we want to our frame to be raised, even though frames are being raised, springs are pushing them downwards, and this is the waste of energy one way. And there are, because the yarns are still being forced downward when they need to be upward, there may be some extraordinary force that is being applied on the frame structure that may cause the damage or maybe inefficient. So we need a system, and these days we use it the levers, and uh, motion is transferred by the solid rods, and we support them with the help of uh, some elbows and and connections with the frames is from the downside, and these connections are fixed, and generally we use positive systems, and this positive system cause lifting as well as lowering of the frames. So this makes our today's system more energy efficient, more motion efficient. It does not have lags or delays and unnecessary vibrations. So a good system must contain these features, and it must not waste energy in lags and vibrations. And also when we have unnecessary movements and vibrations, there must be wear and tear of the parts that can damage them, and or maybe wear them quickly and we need to replace them. So wear and tear must be controlled, and when we have efficient motion transfer, the wear and tear can be assured that it is minimum. And also the system provides lubrication, greases, and other ways to apply on the moving parts that can also reduce these wear and tear and longer working of the machine uh, parts without damage, and life of the parts are increased. The foremost disadvantage of these unnecessary movements, one is the wear and tear, and other is the machine operation cannot have a higher speed. For higher speed, we need to remove all unnecessary movements and vibrations so that there must not be delay, and when we operate our shading system at higher speed, our frames and harness can respond accordingly, and the delays can be controlled and the low speed can be controlled. For higher working, we need to remove all inefficient motion transfers. Dear students, in this slide I want to tell you three functions of a a good feature shading system. One is the pick finding function, frame leveling function, and the positive motion of the transfer. The ability of a shading system to go forward or backward as be required, for example, the repair of the weft, is the called the peak finding ability of a machine. In old machines like in double lift Dobbies, we use the lag system, and one lag is used for two picks. So when we move the machine forward or backward, either machine goes two picks forward or either it comes backward for two picks, not for single pick. But in these days, we have the functionality of going forward or backward for each pick. That is a good function for a machine, so that we can find the pick and repair it. If there is some mistake or some broken weft, then we can repair it. Another ability similarly included along the pick finding is the mentioning of the current pick that is being inserted. For example, if there are 3 by 1 12 that is being made, a machine can mention which pick out of the 4 it is being inserted. And when we move machine forward or backward for the pick finding, it mentions which shed is being opened for out of these 4 picks. So this is possible by the digital displays in these days available with the machines, and that can mention which shed is open for which pick, and there may not be a problem. This may be a special need to trace these picks when we are making some complex design, maybe for Dobby setting. So the system must be there to trace which pick shed for which pick is being open, so that when we do use pick finding, we exactly know uh, the shed for which pick it is being open now. Similarly, the other option is ability to level the frames. Level the frames mean we want to disengage the transfer of motion from the lifting mechanism, and we want to uh, put the frame on a same level without any interruption, without any motion transfer from the cams or the Dobby system. For example, I will show you this video. You can see that the positive cams are transferring the motion, and here you can see that at this position there is a there may be some pumping device, some that is filled by the fluid, and you see the whole system of forwards bowls are disengaged from the cams, and all the frames will be at one level. You can see in this figure over here. So at this position you can see that the frames are level, and this leveling is only possible that we disengage the followers or the bowls from our cam system. Similarly, in Dobby it is also possible. So frame leveling is a good ability. It is better when we require to control the shed geometry to see if all the frames are level on a one position or not. So it is very good ability, and this must be there for a good shading system. And similarly, the third thing I want to talk on this slide is the positive motion transfer. You see, we have a positive motion transfer. There is dual cams for one frame, two followers. One is pushing frame for upward direction. One is pushing downward direction. So positive systems are better. They control both motion of the machine. Machine can operate at a higher speed and higher RPM. So this higher RPM possibilities only when machine is controlled positively, and there are no delays, and machine can operate at higher RPMs. And dear students, on this slide I want to let you know different type of ease in shed geometry setting or shed settings, shed adjustments that can be offered by a shading system. First of all, I want to talk about the shed geometry. there are two elements. One element is the angle control of the shed geometry. These days, one of the manufacturer I see is Picanol, that is offering uh, the angle that is being mentioned on the levers of the uh, lever adjustment. When you adjust the lever height, depth of the frame, when you adjust the depth of the frame, you see these lever can slide over these on this adjustable lever can slide over here up and down, and this up and down movement as mentioned with the degree of the shed that will be formed on the machine. So you can, if you want to specify some angle for a certain frame, you can slide it accordingly and adjust the uh, uh, angle of the angle formed by that frame. So these days shed angle adjustment become easy. It is not available in the previous machines. So this is a good shading system that provides the ability that when you adjust it, adjustment is easy and it already is telling what angle it will form for the frame for which it is being adjusted. And other ability is the adjustment of the shed height. And these days, different manufacturer offer different type of settings. I observe a connector type to the frame. This is called DRC30. In DRC30, it is very convenient that you open a lock nut over from here and you can adjust the height from another nut, and the frame height can be adjusted very easily. No complex opening or closing the other bolts, and it is very easy. And similar things may be offered by the other manufacturers. So a shading system that offers the ability to adjust the frame height easily with the least downtime of the machine would be a good thing. So when you will go into the machine for your jobs in the mill, you will see that the DS30 is very quick adjustment of the frame heights. So if you have a, ever chance to get if you get ever chance to select frame fittings for which I will prefer DRC30, which can adjust easily the frame height and least downtime to change the height of the frames. So the good shading system must offer ease in access to the frame height and the shed angle of the frames. The other thing is the good shading system must provide easier design change. For Dobbies, we see that the design can be fed by the electronically to the machine panel, and even softwares are available on PC, and they can transfer the design easily to the machine by some memory devices. For the cam shading systems, we use such type of indexing rods and cam change operators on which we can adjust the cams and their different shed settings easily. Another approach that can be provided by a manufacturer is the synchronization of the different weft insertion channels. For example, if you are using four colors and you want to, if there is a break in the machine, weft break, so machine must be capable to find out which first yarn was broken and which yarn to be inserted, especially when you are going forward and backward in peak finding. This synchronization must be available there. A good shading system or maybe a good machine must be incorporate such type of settings so that there must not be a complexity or fault in the design. Uh, in today's lecture's last slide is about the design of our shading system. A good design of a shading system is a design that produces minimum noise level. You see there are a lot of moving parts in a shading system, so we want to have uh, as much as unnecessary movement should not be there, and any movement that is there, that must be encountered and controlled in such a way that the noise level is minimum, that does not add to the noise already produced in the weaving shed. So the other thing is the modular design, a design that that conform, that uses different parts that are modular and joined together to establish and build all the shading system, would be a good design. And this helps to replace if there is some malfunctioning parts, so we can replace easily. The modular design is easier to handle for the repairs, maintenance, and it may be an efficient way of designing a shading system. A good shading system must also avail the ability, maybe no maintenance may be required, and if the maintenance would be required, maintenance would be easy. For example, the latest machines are offering lubricant systems, and this lubricant system helps to reduce the temperature buildups and longer working hours without interruption. And this also helps as a heat exchanger, and it also help us to decrease the wear and tear of the machine. So the good shading system must incorporate a lubrication system to decrease the maintenance and maintain the good working condition of the shading system. Shading system must also ensure that any element that is being used in the shading system, either it is frames or components of the frames, or the connection rods, or maybe the components of the shading system itself, must be easily replaceable, so that the it is a maintainable and repairable system, and this access should be easier, so that if there is a breakage in the system, it must be repaired with the minimum downtime of the machine. Another concern of today's shading systems are the energy efficiency hazards that may cause by the system. For example, old Dobby systems are not covered. These days we see the Dobbies and the shading system are covered, so that the moving parts are not cannot be accessed easily. So hazards or safety precautions must be incorporated by the manufacturer of the shading system, so that there must not be a mishap or accident. And also shading system must incorporate the conditions in which they want to work, their metallurgy of the material, their working condition must be acceptable, so that for example, in air-jet sheds we use low temperature, room temperature, and high moisture in the air. So such conditions, the metallurgy and the machine must be built in such a way that it can resist against such condition, and working condition would be acceptable for such shading systems. So with this, I complete my today's lecture, in which I have mentioned the feature of a good shading system. The purpose of this lecture was to let you understand how a shading system is selected, and how you can compare if a shading system is a better or not. So I highlighted all the features, and there may be some other features, but basic feature I have mentioned over here in these slides. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.